Thanks.
Hello, Brian.
How are you doing tonight?
I am well. How are ya?
Not too bad.
Am I saying welcome to or welcome back? Or
Welcome back.
where were ya?
Just up in Edmonton visiting family for the weekend. So,
Gotcha. Was that coinciding with Father's Day?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And you went up for the weekend, I'm guessing?
Yeah. Yeah, I went up Thursday and just worked from there on Friday. So
Ah, nice to have that option for remote stuff, eh?
for sure.
What do you do for work?
I work for TELUS. I do long-term strategy planning. So,
Okay.
yeah, basically as long as I have an internet connection, I can work from just about anywhere. So.
Is that going to be like a permanent transition for the remote work? Or?
Even before COVID, I went into the office maybe once every 2 weeks.
You don't say? Okay.
Yeah, so
you're quite well suited to that dynamic, it
Yeah.
sounds like.
yeah,
Cool.
so yeah, it was pretty easy.
What do you like about the job?
It's challenging
Yeah.
and it's something. There's a lot of repetition, but there's always something new going on too. So
Yeah.
a little bit of both.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
How's the bus service between here and there?
Not great.
Not so great, eh?
Yeah.
Now, did you use the Greyhound before this came into inception?
I've taken eBus, Greyhound, and Red Arrow.
Yeah,
It's all,
similar.
yeah, they're all basically the same. They're
Yeah.
all, it all depends on what time
Yeah,
the buses go in. Like,
Yeah.
right now, there's, like, Red Arrow's, I guess, the best of them, the most comfortable of them.
Okay.
But it leaves here at noon and leaves Edmonton at noon. It's
Yeah.
not really an ideal
time.
time for either.
Yeah.
So,
It's like a 3-hour trip too, or more than that?
3.5, 4 hours.
Okay,
Yeah, so,
gotcha.
yeah.
Now, there's a service, an app service called, what is it called? Ride, anyway, the very premise of this app is if someone's going there, it's kind of
Yeah.
like Uber, but you can like buy a seat for them. and
Yeah.
it's super cheap. Have you heard of this one now?
No.
Oh man. So it's just like the ones who are traveling, say I'm going to Vancouver,
Yeah.
I'll put it on this app saying, hey, I'm going here on this day to this time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so if you wanted to ride along and,
Yeah.
and I had like 3 extra seats, you'd be able to pay, I don't know.
Okay.
It's actually super cheap though. So if you're
Yeah.
here at Edmonton, it's probably like $30 or something
Yeah.
like that. It's just
Yeah.
riding the company of someone in their vehicle. kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I'm not sure if that's an option that might work
Yeah.
for you or not. I'm trying to remember the name of the app though. And I totally.
See, and like, well, on Thursday as I went up, I was working and I was like actually on calls. So,
So it was awkward.
well, but like, I guess like being on the bus was a little bit better than like being with just like one other person
I
type
see.
thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. Gotcha. And are the buses fairly full? Or it's kind of spacious still there?
Kind of spacious still.
Nice.
Like, going there, the
Yeah.
bus was pretty empty.
Okay.
Coming back today, it was 3/4 full, I'd say probably.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe 80%.
Yeah. Gotcha. I saw one of the tattoo artists that I follow. They tattooed on someone a Greyhound bus, so that was obviously meaning to them.
Yeah.
But it brought me back to like, oh yeah, that was a thing once upon a time.
Yeah.
I think it quite surprised me when they called and closed down their shop there.
Yeah. Well, and, like, there is a lot of like more remote communities that was really their only, right? Like Edmonton to Calgary, and like it stops in Red Deer, so
Sure.
you got that. Like that quarter is still
Yeah.
covered, but like there's a lot of. Oh.
Daniel!
How you doing?
I'm awesome! Nice to see you!
I'm flying tomorrow, 5 a.m. in the morning.
I'll call you!
Okay,
I'll call you, brother!
let's talk later.
So So he has an amazing story. He has an amazing story. Oh my goodness, I didn't. He actually, it's more of a sad story.
Red light camera in 300
He
meters.
was sought after.
Limit is 50
He's like one of the
kilometers
few
per hour.
experts in the world in microbiology culture.
Okay.
And so a cannabis company here aggressively went to Spain where he lived
Yeah.
and said, we want you working for us. Please come and, bring your expertise, because he's like one of the few.
Yeah.
So finally he relented and said, okay. So he moved his fiance at the time
Yeah.
and him over here. Came and invested like a couple of years and just brought all his knowledge, his technology, and helped them refine a really beautiful product.
Yeah.
And on the day of that completion of that product, as they were planning, many more years together in business,
Yeah.
the company said to him, actually, you're fired now. We're done with you, kind of thing. I did not know this story, and so like he was my Uber, driving.
Yeah.
And so I was just sharing one of my experiences, which inspired him. He's like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad, because it was just one of those really good stories that I experienced. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm so encouraged that there's goodness in humanity. And then he shared his story with me. And what I do when I don't drive my Uber, I share a lot of my experiences with my followers online,
Yeah.
with permission, of course.
Yeah.
And so he gave me permission to share his story that he shared. It's a heartbreaking story.
Yeah.
And then the cannabis community online caught wind of my story that I
Yeah.
featured on him. And some of the cannabis magazines, roll papers, or sought me out saying, can we connect with this guy here?
Yeah.
And they just featured his story and sort of brought more light to this industry this one company specifically
Yeah.
in my town that is just being so shady like that in its maneuvers.
Yeah, that's
so,
a very poor business practice
oh, totally,
on their part.
absolutely.
Like that's
And so his of course he can't work here now, and so he's heading back tomorrow. And so I've been
Yeah.
trying to connect with him since then.
yeah.
I mean, we have each other's contact, but I better call him and say, hey, we need to sit down. And
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think he was encouraged at least that there was still good expressions, because there's an overwhelming amount of interest
Yeah.
from the cannabis industry saying that's so not cool,
Yeah.
and we're going to boycott and say no to this company in
Yeah.
specific. In fact, I still have his card right here. This is his card right here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so, my goodness. That was unexpected. That's happened 2 times to me now. I was driving one time along the way, and this car was keeping track with me while I was driving. And finally I look over, and it's a dad, his wife, and the kids on the back. The windows are rolled down, they're waving at me. The dad has his phone showing me my account, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, now you know a little bit more about me. Unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. 2 nights ago, I was driving up Sarcee Trail.
Yeah.
I never met this guy before. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, like
Yeah.
late, and it was dark. And he's passing me, and he just glances over, and he recognizes me. I've never met him before, so they recognize me before I even recognize him. And so he's just waving at me, and he sends me a message later saying, "Oh, it's me." Oh my.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I would love to share our time together if you're game for it.
Sure.
But I'm happy if you are not, because it's not everyone's jam.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to. Yeah, thank you for being willing to do that.
Yeah. No. Happy to.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's been a really integral way of inspiring or encouraging a lot of people who I didn't know needed encouragement in times like these,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like life can be pretty crappy and you're feeling isolated and
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot of people out there having a really hard time with a lot of things. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.